Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. I pulled the crumpled piece of paper from my daughter's backpack, thinking it was another permission slip or forgotten homework. But the words that stared back at me were written in my husband's handwriting. Looping, deliberate, familiar. You make me feel alive again, in ways I can't explain. You're my little secret, and I can't wait to see you tonight. My hands went cold. For a long second, I couldn't breathe. The room dimmed around me, as if every object, the lunchbox, the crayons, the pink backpack, had turned hostile, unfamiliar. No mother should ever read something like that. I read it again, slower this time, searching for some other meaning, some way this wasn't what it looked like. Maybe it was an old note. Maybe he wrote it as a joke. Maybe. But it was signed. Love. Dad. I sank into the kitchen chair, the letter trembling in my hands. My heartbeat thudded painfully against my ribs. The floor felt unsteady beneath me. Every instinct screamed to confront him, to call him, to do something. But the rational part of me whispered, wait. I needed to know more before I destroyed everything. When my daughter, Lily, came home from school, I watched her like I never had before. She was only 12, smiling, carefree, humming as she set down her shoes. Hey, Mom. We had art class today. I drew a horse, but it looks like a potato. I forced a laugh. Sounds cute, sweetheart. Dad home yet? She asked, glancing toward the hallway. Not yet, I said. He's working late. She smiled softly, as if that answer meant something special to her. A small, secret smile. It chilled me. That night, when Mark came home, I studied him too. He kissed me on the forehead like always, gentle, routine, and went straight to the living room. His scent, his calm, confident voice, the way he loosened his tie, everything about him screamed ordinary. But now, ordinary felt like camouflage. Rough day? He asked, pouring himself a drink. Just tired, I said. He looked at me with that familiar tenderness, the one I used to believe in. You've been quiet lately. So had he. But now I wondered if his quietness wasn't exhaustion, it was guilt. When he went to shower, I slipped into his office. The faint smell of cologne lingered there, mixed with printer ink and dust. His desk was neat, as always. Too neat. I opened drawers, checked behind folders, scanned his emails on the computer. Nothing. And yet, that letter burned in my pocket like a live coal. The next morning, I followed Lily to school under the pretense of volunteering for the library. I watched her at recess, chatting with her friends, laughing. Normal. Innocent. But when she walked to the far end of the yard, near the fence where the trees shaded the playground, I saw him, Mark. My husband. He wasn't supposed to be there. He handed her something small, maybe a note, maybe candy. Lily beamed, hugged him quickly, then ran back toward her friends. He looked around, scanning for anyone watching. I ducked behind a pillar, my heart slamming in my chest. Every horrible thought I'd tried to suppress rushed in at once. Why would he meet her in secret? Why a note? What was happening between them? I left the school trembling, nausea crawling up my throat. That night, I couldn't speak to him. I couldn't look at him without feeling sick. When he reached for me in bed, I flinched. You okay? He whispered. Just tired, I said again. But my mind screamed. Ask him. Demand the truth. Instead, I waited. 2 days later, I found another letter. This one tucked into Lily's sketchbook, folded neatly between her drawings. The handwriting was his again. You're my brightest light, my reason to smile when the world feels heavy. Never forget how special you are to me. Still signed, Love, Dad. But this one was softer, almost parental. Still, wrong. Something in the phrasing. The tone felt too intimate, too emotional for a father-daughter note. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I placed both letters in front of him on the kitchen table. He froze when he saw them. Mark, I said quietly, why are you writing love letters to our daughter? His face drained of color. What are you talking about? Don't lie to me, I whispered. I found these in her things. He stared at the papers for what felt like forever, then closed his eyes, exhaling shakily. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. He rubbed his temples, searching for words. She's been struggling, Anna. Feeling unloved. She told me she feels like I'm always distant. That I love my work more than her. So I started writing her little notes. Just to remind her she matters. I stared at him, torn between anger and disbelief. You signed them like that. Love, Dad, as if you're hiding it. She asked me not to tell you, he said. She thought you'd think it was weird, or childish. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But something in his voice, the slight tremor, the way he couldn't meet my eyes, told me there was more. That night, I went into Lily's room. She was asleep, her face peaceful in the soft glow of her nightlight. On her nightstand was a small box. Inside were more letters, at least a dozen. All from him. But one stood out. It wasn't signed Dad. It was signed Love, M. The words were darker, deeper. Not parental at all. You're growing into such a beautiful young woman. I can't believe how quickly you're changing. You remind me of the first time I fell in love. My stomach dropped. I sat there in the dark, shaking so hard I could barely breathe. Tears blurred my vision. No, it couldn't be real. He couldn't be that man. The next morning, I confronted him again, my voice shaking. You need to tell me the truth, Mark. All of it. He looked broken, terrified. Anna, please. You're misunderstanding. Then explain this, I said, shoving the letter at him. He went still. The silence stretched long enough for the world to crumble between us. Then he whispered, that one wasn't meant for her. What? It was for you. I wrote it years ago. I must have mixed it up when I was putting her notes in the box. The room swayed. You expect me to believe that? He met my eyes, desperate. I swear to you, Anna. I've done nothing wrong. Check with her if you want. I did. That evening, I sat Lily down and asked her gently about the notes. She smiled shyly. Dad said they were our secret letters. He told me he used to write you love notes when you were dating, and he missed doing that. So he said we could write each other letters too, like a father-daughter diary. Her voice was innocent. Too innocent. When she left, I broke down. The truth was murky, ugly, impossible to untangle. Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe he wasn't. But I could no longer tell the difference. That night, I packed a bag. I left the house without waking him. As I drove away, the letters sat on the passenger seat beside me, silent witnesses to a love story that had twisted into something unrecognizable. I didn't know if he was a monster or just a man who'd lost his boundaries. But I knew one thing: trust, once cracked, doesn't heal. It just learns to pretend. And I wasn't going to pretend anymore.